Kentuckiana joins a nationwide day of protests. No kings, they say.
Donald Trump has got to go!
Tonight on the night team, the biggest crowds we've seen in downtown Louisville in years.
We're immigrants, you know? We have to stand up for what's right. We cannot let our brothers and sisters get kidnapped.
Marches stretching across the Highlands.
It matters. I think it matters more here than in other, states that are more blue.
And over to southern Indiana, all as a military parade was happening in D.C. Plus, authorities continue to pour over evidence after the shootings of 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota. The WHAS11 night team starts right now. Millions of people across America flooding the streets in protest against the Trump administration, calling it No King's Day on President Donald Trump's 79th birthday. More than 1,500 demonstrations in all, 50 states, major cities from Philadelphia to Los Angeles, Denver to Atlanta, and of course, a city that's no stranger to calls for change, Louisville. The marches coincided with the president's military parade, featuring more than 6,700 troops marching down the street of the Capitol in celebration of the Army's 250th anniversary. Thanks for joining us here on the night team. I'm Isaiah Kim Martinez. Around 4,000 people gathered in downtown Louisville this afternoon, peacefully making their voices heard. This was one of the larger protests we've seen downtown in years. The night team's Alexandra Goldberg and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton were there on the ground, showing us it was more than just Trump's recent actions driving people to the streets.
Louisville joined hundreds of other cities across America in the No King's Day protest. At times, protesters marched throughout downtown Louisville, closing down streets and ending up right back here at Jefferson Square Park.
This is what democracy looks like!
Louisville showed up today.
This is what democracy looks like!
We didn't want a king. We didn't want a dictator.
This is what democracy looks like!
About 4,000 protesters in downtown Louisville have made their message clear.
Donald Trump has got to go!
We shouldn't let fascism grow like this.
Trump is going to take our country over with his authoritarian ways, and we have got to fight for our democracy.
Louisville joined in lockstep with 2,000 cities across America for a No Kings protest in opposition to Trump administration policies.
We're immigrants, you know? We have to stand up for what's right. We cannot let our brothers and sisters get kidnapped.
I'm a teacher, and I'm here to stand with kids and my students that are immigrants and that overall are not being respected by our current president.
Many demonstrating against nationwide immigration raids.
This country is built on immigrants, and you should be proud of your heritage, but you should also be proud to be an American. This right here is what being American is about.
Several years ago, it was we were a sanctuary city. I hope we can recognize the value that our immigrants give to our community.
Lisa Migliori Black believes America is backsliding on civil rights for everyone.
I think what they're doing, especially to our trans military right now, is absolutely shameful.
Lynn Elliott Reed also saying the administration is targeting LGBTQ communities.
I'm a lesbian and I'm married, and they want to take away my rights. They want to take away the rights of friends of mine.
Their chants filling Jefferson Square Park with their demands.
Alexandra Goldberg reporting there. It wasn't just Louisville protesting. Across the river, hundreds gathered at Courthouse Plaza in New Albany.
Hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
The protesters showed up at 10 a.m. Many expressed frustration with the administration's first 6 months in office. One demonstrator saying he believes the GOP has become hypocritical.
Whenever you have a sitting president who openly mocks courts anytime they rule against him, who his cabinet members foment actual sedition among the people, and then you have him sending in troops to California against the wishes of the governor, against the wishes of the mayor? How can we be a conservative party who rejects the basic tenets of conservatism?
Also showed up to the Indiana State House in Indianapolis. This, despite pouring rain up there. There were also protests in Shelbyville and more than a dozen other cities in Kentucky. Back here in Louisville, a separate group hosted their own march in the Highlands, starting at Mid-City Mall and going down Bardstown Road. WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Aspen Hester take us there.
What do we want? No king!
I'm out here to protest the tyranny that is Donald Trump.
And since 1776, we haven't had a king, and we're not interested in one right now.
Marching to the beat of a drum. And raising their voices.
You can't just sit there and watch the news and be mad.
You can't be silent over this issue. You've got to speak up.
It matters. I think it matters more here than in other, states that are more blue.
Protesters taking to the sidewalks of Bardstown Road, showing their dislike for President Donald Trump.
I do not believe in what Trump is doing to the United States. To my opinion, he's taken it down.
I work in this substance use disorder field. Our patients realistically are at risk for losing their Medicaid. And if they don't have that, then they can't get care.
On a day where there were hundreds of No King's Day protests nationwide, the Highlands had their own. People of all ages showing support.
What happened in LA was not good, and how we're here for everyone.
But some in the neighborhood tell me it's going to take a wider reach to truly change minds.
They're sort of preaching to the choir in these streets because it's an easy place to be recognized.
With every honk,
the cheering and the beeping, I don't think there's any real discourse or progress as far as what can be done to push an agenda.
Stephen Bush is challenging people.
What sort of organizing needs to be done to ensure we have a larger voter turnout?
To expand their conversation to the areas of the county where folks might feel more positive about the president and the job he's doing. On Bardstown Road, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
The United States military hit a major milestone today, celebrating 250 years with a massive parade in Washington, D.C. On display were 6,700 soldiers, along with tanks and aircraft, as well as new weapons systems, some of which are currently in use in Ukraine. The parade consisted of troop formations, heavy artillery displays, flyovers, musical performances, and a presidential address.
Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. That's what we're doing tonight.
Wrapping up the parade, President Donald Trump, also celebrating his 79th birthday, swore in 250 new recruits and returning soldiers. That was followed by a 19-minute fireworks show lighting up the sky. Now to the tragic news out of Minnesota. The shootings of two Democratic lawmakers by a gunman authorities say was disguised as a police officer. The desperate manhunt continues for the man accused of shooting and killing the former state speaker of the House and injuring a state senator. Governor Tim Walz called the murder of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband a politically motivated assassination.
Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service.
Authorities say 57-year-old Vance Bolter, disguised as a law enforcement officer, went to both Hortman's and Senator John Hoffman's home. Hortman and her husband were killed, while Hoffman and his wife remain in serious condition. Police say Bolter, seen here, was dressed in security guard gear and wearing a latex mask. According to officials, he was also driving a car made to look like a police vehicle.
What I will tell you, when we did a search of the vehicle, there wasn't a manifesto that identified many lawmakers and other officials. We immediately made alerts to the state, who took action on alerting them and providing security where necessary.
According to law enforcement sources, the gunman listed dozens of Minnesota Democrats on a target list, including Governor Tim Walz, U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, and State Attorney General Keith Ellison. Back at home, Kentucky's House Speaker, Republican David Osborne, responded in a statement, saying in part, quote, "I hope Americans, regardless of party, will take the day to reflect on the over-the-top, sensationalized language that has become far too prevalent in our political discourse. The words we use matter, and we should all remember that what one might consider mere rhetoric may be taken by unstable individuals as a call to action." To our weather here tonight, an on and off rainy Saturday, and of course we're looking to see what Sunday could bring for us. We'll have Danielle Moss here with your latest forecast.
Well, we were fighting back the heavy rain showers earlier this evening, and now we're looking at nice, mostly dry skies. Here's a look from earlier, an absolutely gorgeous sunset we had. This is a look into Louisville Metro. Over the next few hours, we're going to see the nice dry skies continuing and some fog developing. Our high today was 85 degrees, just 1 degree off from our average of around 86 and 9 degrees away from our record. Here's a look at the next 12 hours. We're going to be into the low 70s overnight and to start your Sunday morning, and then temperatures will be on the rise. Here's a look at your fog forecast. If you have any late night plans or really early plans for your Sunday, maybe going to a sunrise service, make sure you allow extra time and remember those low beams, because fog is definitely going to be an issue as we head throughout your Sunday morning. It'll start to dissipate around 10 a.m. tomorrow, but before that, just take your time on the roads. Highs tomorrow near 85 degrees. We're tracking some Father's Day showers. Have all the details coming up in my full forecast.
Danielle, thank you so much. New here on the night team, Louisville Congressman Morgan McGarvey is weighing in on the Beshear presidential speculation for 2028. Last night, I was in Owensboro, Kentucky, where the Democratic National Committee Chairman Ken Martin told me he hopes Governor Andy Beshear pursues the White House in 2028, saying if Beshear wants to, he should do it. Today, I asked McGarvey, a friend of Beshear's, about those comments.
Look, Andy Beshear has been an absolutely fantastic governor. I think he'd be a fantastic governor of America, and that means the President of the United States. I think he'd do a really great job. I think he should do it.
Beshear has said he'd consider running for president if he felt he could help heal a broken country, but he's also made it clear any serious consideration would not come before his time leading the Democratic Governors Association is over. He starts in that role as chair of the DGA next year through the 2026 November election. LMPD is looking for a man they say shot someone after arguing over a box of chicken in the Russell neighborhood. At 9 this morning, LMPD responded to a shooting near the intersection of 22nd and West Market Street. Surveillance shows the two arguing behind a business when one of the men pulls out a gun. Police say the victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. LMPD needs help identifying the shooter. Take a look at this photo. He's wearing a white t-shirt, camo shorts, and a hat. He was also riding a bicycle. Metro Police are also investigating after someone shot a juvenile in the Algonquin neighborhood. Police say they responded to the shooting just after 8:30 on Bulger Court near 37th Street. When officers arrived, they found a boy with a gunshot wound. We're told he was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. LMPD's homicide unit is handling the investigation. Anyone with information about either of these shootings should call the anonymous tip line. That's 574 LMPD.